Panther Broadcasting, powered by Prepcast. Tom Hartbeck sitting down with Coach Joe Bacon again. Thanks, Coach, for sitting down with me.
Yeah, you bet.
It's officially week one.
It is finally.
How happy is everybody for that?
They're pretty excited, and it's obviously a huge challenge on our hands going against Francis Howell right out of the gates, and so that's tough. There's absolutely no easing into the season, so we got to make sure we're ready to roll from the first snap.
Speaking of Howell, Class 6, so it's a class above. Lately, that hasn't mattered for you guys. They have an offensive lineman in the Super 30.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have a very good offensive line as well. What are the main challenges going into week one, do you think, just off the top of your head?
I think for both teams, a few things is just being sharp at what they're supposed to do. They're going to know what to do, but at the same time, your first game of the year and emotions are going to be real high, and so being able to execute, fast, aggressive, and do your job well. Probably that's going to be a challenge for both teams, and then also both teams are real strong up front, and so I expect a real physical game.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the conditioning aspect of it too, because you can condition real hard in practice, but nothing can equate to going through a football game and just how much that drains your body.
Yeah, and it's hot. This first week.
Yeah.
So you're officially number 6 in large schools in St. Louis, and there's nobody in Class 5 above you. There's a lot of high expectations for the student body, the parents, and the kids as well. How do you guys handle that? Because it's been high the past few years.
For sure. So those rankings, they're fun to look at, but honestly, they mean nothing, really, right?
Yeah.
So the ranking at the end of the year is based on what you've actually done, and the rankings right now are just based on what previous kids have done or what people think you might do. And so I think our kids understand that the numbers really, at this point, are pretty meaningless.
Mm-hmm.
And it's up to us to prove that we deserve whatever number, and Hal's going to be trying to do the same thing.
You guys are a little bit on the small side. How do you guys compensate, for maybe bigger teams like a Howell?
Mm-hmm. So, size is great, especially in college. And in high school, it's great too. But I would take a team that's maybe a little bit smaller and that's athletic and strong and aggressive. And not that Howell's not any of those things. They're good across the board. Mm-hmm. But just because we're a little bit smaller, we don't really feel like that's a big disadvantage for us.
The headline on STL Today did read, North leans on O-line as Payne switches to QB.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a pretty good assessment of the team so far.
Yeah, I would say of all the groups within the team, the offensive line is the one for sure with the most experience. All five of those guys were starting for us last year, and so it would make sense for us to lean on them, and that's in the run game and the pass game, and just kind of establishing our identity up front of being aggressive and grinding hard through the whole game.
Mm-hmm. And Cairo at QB too. That's got to be an asset.
Yeah, definitely having a dual threat quarterback that can run as well as throw the ball. And I feel like we've had that the last several years, and as a triple option team, you pretty much have to. So you can't have Peyton Manning back there as great as it sounds. So having somebody that can do the things that we need him to do as well as Cairo does is going to be a good strength for us. So our focus is how in the world do we try to start off 1-0 this year and play as well as we can against Howell. Week 2, once it starts, West is real good, and then Parkway Central is real good, and I can keep on going down the line. So it's no disrespect to those teams, but for us, our season is 1 week long, and it's this week right now.
You have any concerns about starting on the road?
There's some drawbacks to it. We don't really mind playing on the road, though, because you get on the bus and kind of isolates you from everything, and you get into that rhythm, and I think it's going to be a great atmosphere. It's been a while since we've played in a game where you can't really hear each other talking. I think that might be what's going on Friday night. So that might be a little bit of a plus for Hal, just having all those people there backing them. But at the same time, I think that'll probably get our guys pretty amped up too.
All right, Coach. Well, it looks like you guys are full steam and ready to go. We'll see you next week.
All right, sounds
Thanks.
good. Thank you.
What is it about the kids on the team that makes them respond well to how you guys coach them?
I think a big part of it is that we as coaches truly do believe in it also. It's not just, hey, we think character is good for you guys. Us, it's not all that important. So we really do try to live it out. And an example would be, I've done push-ups before for cussing, because it's not like cussing's bad for you guys, but I get to make exceptions for myself. The guidelines we have in place for the boys are the guidelines we have in place for us as well, because it's the right way to do life. And so I think that if we had different standards for us and for the kids, they would understand that maybe we don't really believe in those things. It would be hard for them to follow. But if they see us applying those things to our own lives and we really do care about them and believe in them, I think it's a lot easier for them to understand, hey, this is a valid thing worth doing, and they get on board with it.
You might have heard this before. Football builds character, and then some people will say it doesn't. It reveals character. Mm-hmm. Which one would you gravitate towards?
Both.
Both.
It definitely builds character if you do it the right way. It can also cause your character kind of go downhill if you're in a negative group or people that aren't doing life well. And so it can definitely build it if you're in the right environment, but also just the intensity of being in those situations where you're pushed physically and mentally and emotionally. It exposes who you are, because most of us are pretty good people when everything's going our way, but when it all kind of falls apart, like who we are gets revealed in a hurry. And so I think football is good at both of those things. It exposes who we are, but it also helps us become a better version of who we are.
Panther Broadcasting, powered by Prepcast, your play-by-play network.